Sometimes I'll hear a story on a podcast or from a friend, and they'll say, I opened up this individual retirement account or IRA, and I've been putting money in it for years, and it's just not growing the way that I expect it to. The stock market is growing way more than this IRA is. And sometimes after years, they'll realize that their account was invested in cash or in things like cash and just didn't grow that much. And I want to talk a little bit about that today and about how you can avoid having that happen to your IRA. So your IRA can be invested in all sorts of different kinds of assets. You can put it in stocks and bonds and mutual funds and exchange traded funds and bond funds. So there's a whole different set of places that it could go. And the place that you open up your IRA doesn't know right when you put money in it where you want that money to go. So it's going to create an account called the core account or the sweep account that it's going to keep all that money in until you give the custodian of the account further instructions into where you want that money invested. And those core accounts or those sweep accounts are going to be in things that are very safe. There's very low likelihood that you're going to lose any money, but that also usually means they're going to have a very small return or your money's not going to grow very much. So here's how you can figure out where your IRA is invested and how much of it's invested in cash in Fidelity, which is the brokerage that we use. Other custodians like Vanguard or Charles Schwab will have slightly different ways to get this information, but you can find it through some similar way. So what I'm going to do here, this is the screen that opens up when I log into Fidelity, and I'm going to pick the IRA, in this case, this traditional IRA that I want to take a look at. So I'll click on that, and it brings up some information about this specific IRA. And we can already see here in the bottom right that there's probably going to be an issue. 100% of the assets in this account are in short term. And that usually means some kind of cash or cash equivalent and is oftentimes not where you'll want your money invested for an IRA. We can go ahead and click here on positions, and that's going to open up more detail on where this money is invested. And here you see all of the monies invested in this Fidelity government money market. And money markets are great accounts for keeping your money safe, but they'll typically not perform nearly as well as the stock market. They'll perform more like a kind of fancy savings account. So you might get a little bit more growth than a savings account. This, of course, is not a very large account. I've just opened this for an example to show. But if you also see the percentage of your account, 100%, in something that ends with money market, you should really look and see where you want that money to go, because it's not going to grow like you might expect from all these examples you see on the internet of 8 to 10% a year of putting it in the stock market.